Lots of questions that are coming in from both viewers and those that are in the room with us this morning. With us here is, of course, you heard from him earlier, the Finance Minister himself, Pravin Gordhan. Also next to him is Nhlanhla Nene, the Deputy Minister of Finance. Good to have you with us again. Opa Magashule, our SARS Commissioner. Good to have you. Welcome. And, of course, Lungiso Fuzile, who is the DG for Finance. Thank you very much and welcome to Morning Live. Minister, before I get into any of the questions about finance, I want to know, how are you feeling? You're not doing too well. What we're hearing is you coughing. Are you feeling okay?
Oh, I'm feeling great.
Are you feeling great?
Yeah, because South Africans are very happy with the budget.
Are they?
Yeah, it seems so.
Is this the feedback that you've gotten so far?
No, I think we're very encouraged by the feedback that we've had.
Yeah.
Because it means that as government, not just any one of us as individuals, we've done and taken many of the right decisions for now. And we hope that the confidence that this will bring in the public domain will translate into better growth prospects for this country and better jobs prospects.
Yeah, indeed. Was this a difficult budget to put together? Because so many people were worried for you. I remember reading the news yesterday, and in the news we were saying that it's been quite easy up till now for you. Not easy, I suppose easy being the operative word, but I mean, when you look at yesterday's budget, this was really a tough one. What was it like for you?
No, for all of us, it was a tough one, but this whole period has been a tough one. We have a once-in-70-year recession that we're dealing with that started in the US in 2007, 2008, came to our shores in 2009, and we lost 60 billion rands of revenue, which we've forgotten about. We lost 1 million jobs, we've also forgotten about that. And we are now trying to recover. Now, we've recovered reasonably. 2.5 to 3% growth is reasonable. But many of our comparator countries or peer countries have done much better. So the challenge for us is how do we do much better as well? And how do we reach 5 and 6% growth and job-creating growth in the South African context is part of our challenge. So that was the one issue. The second is, of course, as a result of some of the events in the country last year, we are losing about 16 billion rands in revenue up to the 31st of March. So I want to take this opportunity to ask everybody who owes us taxes to pay by the 28th of March. I'm doing this on behalf of the Commissioner because his job is at stake.
Yeah.
He's got to deliver the right amount of money. And that will enable us, hopefully, to reduce that particular deficit as well. So we've had to make adjustments over the next 2 or 3 years, reprioritize expenditure, encourage departments to save, take away money from departments that haven't been spending adequately, and trim our contingency reserve, for example, over the next 3 years. These are tough decisions for any government to take, but they are necessary ones in our context. But the key, as I said earlier, is to focus on how do we grow this economy and how do we create jobs.
Yeah. What was the highlight for you? I mean, what were you happy to announce yesterday?
Well, I was happy to threaten everybody with a tax increase. Everybody wrote about a tax increase.
I know.
Everybody anticipated a tax increase. All of you prepared your checkbooks already.
Yeah.
And I think it was a very generous gesture on the part of government to not increase taxes this time round. But, you know, these are issues that the review committee that we're setting up under Judge Davis will start looking at. And once we're ready, we'll give adequate notice on whether we're going to carry on the current track. And we can carry on the current track if we get better growth. Because a better growth prospect means a wider revenue base. It means more revenue. It means we have to, we can rely on the current tax rates to do the things that we actually have to do. But we'll have a better idea in 6 months' time in terms of whether we can pursue that track.
Yeah, but there were threats coming out of the budget, though. I mean, you did say that we can't go on like this. I mean, if we need to work together, we need to grow this economy, as you said, so that we don't have to have these tax increases coming our way.
Well, it's not so much a threat as much as
a warning.
A reality call.
Yeah.
Let's speak politely this morning. It's a reality check. It's about saying to ourselves, can we all understand the same reality the same way? Can we all understand our challenges the same way? And can we all understand that each of us has a role to play? Because the thing that human beings most like to do is to point the finger at somebody else and say, it's your problem, you do this. In the South African context, unless we all pull together, all of us understand our roles and responsibilities, we're not going to meet the challenges that we have.
Yeah. All right. Lots of questions. Let's start off with some questions now coming from the audience that have gathered here. Let's start off with, I know I've got Desiree Chako is helping me out. I can't see you, Des, but I'm hoping that you are somewhere to be found. I know that we've got one of our first questions coming in from table 5. We've got a table of students that are sitting right over here, and they're all in their school uniforms. They're all sitting there looking very dapper, and I know that they have a question for the Minister. So let's get a microphone to them so we can find out what's really pressing for them. If you can stand up, give us your name, and then pose your question. Perhaps the Minister will then hand it over to one of his people that he's got on the stage to help him.
Morning, Mr. Minister and South Africa at large. My name is Sipakazi Mbatani, and I'm speaking on behalf of, essentially, the students of the Western Cape. Between March 2012 and March 2013, the government aimed to build 98 schools, new schools, should I say, 40 of which in the Eastern Cape to replace the mud schools. And yet, at the end of last year, the Eastern Cape was still the worst performing province. So our question to you, Mr. Minister, is the government's priority to finance quality or quantity of schools and other learning institutions? And if both, do you think it is money well spent thus far?
Lovely question.
Excellent question. Yeah. Thank you very much for that.
Very nice.
I think you must come and sit here and take over this job now. No, we want both quality and quantity, and the Deputy Minister has been looking at this project. This process of 50 schools being built in the Eastern Cape was an endeavor on our part to start experimenting with different ways of delivering. But let him explain to you what we tried to do, what are the lessons we have learned, and how we're going to build on those lessons.
Thanks, Minister and Siphoka, for this very important question. The 49 schools in the Eastern Cape were part of a sort of a pilot project, which was called the ASIDI, which is Accelerated Schools Infrastructure Development Initiative. In that project, indeed, we have actually built 43 of those schools, and 6 of them will actually be ready by the end of this month, because we were let down by the contractors. But we learned some very, it's a fact. And we actually had to get rid of the contractor and pass it onto the others, and that is why they are going to be completed late. And it's one of the things that I think the Minister was talking about, that I think it's time that we make this partnership between the public sector and the private sector work, where we are all committed to making sure that it does work. The 46 were completed in time, in less than 7 months, and the only delays that we experienced were as a result of understandable circumstances. Firstly, in the Eastern Cape, because of the area, we learned very invaluable lessons in that area, where you find that where you have to build a school, there is no road that leads there, and when it rains, you can't reach that area. And when you have started building, you find that it is difficult to source material, and when you do source material, it is not of the quality that is required, and some of the material had to be sourced in other areas like Durban, Johannesburg, and far from the Eastern Cape. So those lessons that we have learned have now been factored in, and our Development Bank of Southern Africa, as the implementing agent, and other agencies that we want to work with, are now taking those lessons on board, and we are rolling it out on a much larger scale. And we are going to be seeing infrastructure being rolled out. Well, it will take a bit longer because we are now beginning to factor in reality in those areas. And it's a project that we take quite seriously. It is part of our broader infrastructure development program. But because of the focus on education, we are indeed taking that part of it quite seriously, so that as we improve the quality of education, but also that the infrastructure in that area and the elimination of inappropriate structures in schools is also dealt with.
All right. Thank you so much. Siphokazi, you happy with that answer?
Yes, thank you.
Good. All right, Siphokazi's happy. If she's happy, we're all happy. Let's take a break on Morning Live. Lots more after that.